like for an opener, especially kind of one of bigger magnitude like this?
There's jitters for every game, I guess, but been there, done that, I guess. I mean, I really love these. The early kind of neutral site games. I've always been a big fan of those. I think the players are excited about it. Fan base should be excited about it. We're at a point in camp where we can keep practicing if we want to, but we're not going to figure things out until we have a real game. And so we're ready for that. We've had a great camp. I had 21 really good days of camp. Played a lot of football. Covered every situation known to man, so to speak, and our guys are ready for a game, and so this week's all about just getting really comfortable with the game plan. I think Coach Rule did an exceptional job of not making game week too long, because I think you can make game week too long. And so this week we've just kind of focused in on Cincinnati and excited to get to Kansas City on Thursday.
You might not have a lot of time to reflect, but if you did, what did you like most about the offense during the camp, or what things?
And I think our players did an exceptional job of every day being important, and so just 21 days of just a lot of football. It was just a lot of football. We were a healthy team pretty much the entire camp. We just logged a whole lot of reps and was able to get into just a whole bunch of situations that quite frankly sometimes don't get covered until they happen. And so I just think we're really prepared to be able to go out there and see what happens on Thursday. I mean, it just you get to a point where you think you know what you got, but until you get in that live situation, so you don't really know. I'm excited about Thursday. I'm ready to go out there and ready to coach and ready to watch these guys play.
A little bit about that roster at Cincinnati, having faced it a couple of times. What's your impression of the kind of players they have?
Yeah, we've had some battles. I had some battles with them, man. I mean, this goes back to West Virginia. Had a couple of battles with them, and so Ben. Have been there and competed against this team a lot. Back 2-3 years ago when they made the CFP 2 years in a row, that was a unbelievable football team. We lost to them in the conference championship, I believe, in 21 or 22, one of those two. But they've always had good players, man. They've got great tradition. They're well coached. I think Coach Satterfield's going into his fourth year now, so. They're going to be a quality team. They're going to be a hard, tough working athletic football team, and we're going to have to show up and play well.
Corleone obviously has a resume to him. What stands out about dealing with him?
Yeah, he retired our center a couple years ago, so I know he was battling some things last year, but I certainly know what he's capable of. I've seen it up close and personal for a couple of times. So, he's a load in there. We've been challenging, especially our inside guys, to understand what they're about to face. But I mean, we know, Big Ten football, that's going to be pretty much a weekly thing. So this would be a good test for us week one.
How did he retire who did he retire?
He 3-and-outed us on the first drive by himself, just by himself, put it that way. So, yeah, I'm well aware of what he's capable of, and I think our older inside guys are excited about that challenge.
What struck you about the way that Coach Rule has ran this, or the way that he ran this camp, the way that he ran the month of August?
Just the the structure, it felt like I was experiencing Hard Knocks, just from like that NFL camp stuff, just how we practiced, how we had it structured, the situational stuff, and I encouraged it. He half the time wouldn't even tell us what the situation is going to be. We just got to be able to react to it. Okay. And so, we introduce it, we teach it, but then he springs things on us and we got to be able to handle it, So situationally, I thought it was exceptional. The organization of of the rest and the recovery. This facility just is the best in the country from show up in the morning, and a lot of times these guys don't leave, so to speak, and now that school's in session here, they still don't have to leave a lot because the academic component that exists up there. So they got everything. Our players have everything that they need to be able to get their bodies ready to practice the next practice. And that's what I've seen is the advantage of getting our guys to where they can perform at a high level in practice every single time that we go out there and practice. And that's just a huge emphasis with Coach Rule. And it's allowed us to be able to go out there and get a whole bunch of work done, and I've learned a lot from it, just as far as the organization and the structure, and then just having the facility to be able to back it up makes for good practice.
Hey, Danny, you talked about your inside guys. Do you have a feel at this point what you want to do at tackle going into this game on Thursday night?
No, I mean we're just as excited to see how those guys perform as you guys. I've never been in a position where you can put 3 oars at tackle, and so there's legitimately 5 bodies that they just keep rotating, and so I trust Coach Raiola to be able to know what he's looking at and have a feel for who's playing good, who's not playing good, and getting guys rested. But I'm certainly just as excited about seeing how those guys play and what that lineup kind of settles in at. I think we're really settled in at the inside 3 with just those guys being all old and veteran bodies and all that. But the rotation at tackle is something that I've never had the luxury to do. And so having 5 quality guys that can go out there and play is a huge advantage for us. Just as interested to see how it shakes out as you guys are.
The oars at left tackle, we don't read into everything. Do you read that as a 3-way tie?
Oh, I think it's taking advantage of your opportunity, but it's what that last play looked like. There's been times where it looks good, so they stay in there. There's been times where it doesn't look good and they get replaced, and so I got a lot of confidence in Coach Raiola to be able to, he knows what he's looking for and he knows what that's supposed to look like, and just as interested to see it as you guys are.
You said rotation. Does that mean we could possibly see multiple guys at both?
It's kind of what it means. I'm not being mean, but it's kind of what that means. I mean, it's just we got another practice today. We got another practice tomorrow to kind of just keep plugging away at it. There's some backup receiver spots that I'd say the same thing. There's some guys that, and I think this may have to be a deal where in game I'm going to have to look at some of these young guys at receiver. I'm good with the starters. Those guys are older. They're veterans. They're Isaiah, Dane, Jacory, and then Bonner. I mean, those guys, I know what I'm going to get out of them guys. Okay, it's just all the other guys, and I could say the same thing at running back. You know what you're going to get out of Emmett, but the other guys, although they've been practicing really well, what's that look in their eye going to be like? And that's first game stuff. We'll have a lot more answers Friday on what those guys look like, what the lineup settles in at, and where we go from here.
Dean's body work was kind of 3 years at Kentucky, and everybody can kind of tell what that is. And Isaiah only had kind of the 1 year at Cal. But how have you seen those two guys? You brought him in here to play a lot. How have you seen them kind of take control in camp?
Yeah, they ended up being exactly what we thought we were getting with them. Okay, so and Isaiah went through like a week where he was a little banged up. Kind of set him back a little bit, but has really came on here in the last week. I just see him as I just go back to watching the Cal video. I mean, the game day stuff was pretty good. I don't know what the practice stuff looked like, but the game day stuff was pretty good. And so when you put him in those positions to, make plays, when we're counting on, I feel very confident he'll be able to do that.
How different do you anticipate the play calling experience being for you compared to the last time you were calling plays for Nebraska?
Yeah, it's a little different. I don't get tripped up nearly as much, so it's our offense now, so I know it in and out as well as I need to know it. I got tripped up at times, and had to make some adjustments to what the offense was in order for it to make sense to me, and I think we've done that, and I think it makes a lot of sense to Dylan. And our communication is very, very, very good.
Do you still prefer the sideline?
Yeah.
game day?
Yeah, I need to be down there in the heat of the battle.
Anything else for Coach?
Awesome.